Hello everyone, happy Halloween and welcome back to Beads Make Me Happy. My name is Christina and in this video we will be making our Happy Ghosts Earrings kit. This kit is available on our website beadsmakemehappy.com. It comes in silver with a purple flower and gold with a mustard flower. I'm going to be using the gold kit in this video. Your kit comes with a pair of 14 karat gold hypoallergenic ear wires, gold-filled wire protectors that we will use to attach our ear wires, a tiny size 12 beading needle, 12 feet of Nymo size B thread, and size 11 Miyuki Round Beads in cream, black for the eyes and the mouth, and mustard and purple for the flower. The only tools that you will need for this project are a pair of needle nose pliers to attach the ear wire, a pair of scissors to trim your thread, and a soft fabric bead mat to work on. We are going to start out with 6 feet of thread. You can measure it out or just cut this whole piece in half and leave the other one aside. This is a lot of thread to work with, so it may be a little awkward at first if you are new to bead weaving. It is really helpful to make sure that your workspace is clear of anything this thread could potentially catch on while you're working. So take a second to clear your workspace off so it doesn't get caught. Sometimes thread can get a little kinky when it comes off the spool. If your thread's feeling a little curly and needs some straightening, you can use a thread conditioner or a beeswax, but if you don't have those lying around, you can also use a flat iron or a clothing iron. On the lowest heat setting it has, gently run the thread through the flat iron or the clothing iron to smooth it out before getting started. Just one pass through on the lowest heat setting should straighten you right out. Next, we're going to thread on the beading needle. To do this, hide the very tip of the thread between your fingers and move the thread down till you can only see a tiny speck. Lay the eye of the needle onto the tiny speck and gently push it through. We are not doubling up this thread, but you can pull quite a bit of it through the eye so that the thread you're working with isn't quite as long. We are starting out with this base row. There are 9 columns across with the little mouth as the center column. Using the beading needle, pick up 4 cream beads. Slide the beads all the way down to the end of the thread, leaving about a 4-inch tail. Hold these 4 beads between your thumb and pointer finger to help keep them in place. Your thread should be coming out of the top and the tail coming out of the bottom. Pass your needle up the 2 beads on the bottom. Go up into the hole that the tail is coming out of. Only go up 2 beads. Gently pull your thread all the way through and adjust the beads till they are stacked in columns 2 by 2. Be careful not to pull too hard or your beads will slide right off that tail. We are moving away from the tail, so we need to get into the second column to be in position to add the next set of beads. Pass your needle down through the second column of beads. Use your pointer fingers to help keep the beads in place and pass your needle down just the second column of beads. Pull your thread all the way through and tighten. Next, pick up 2 more cream beads. Pass your needle down through the top holes of the second column, the opposite hole of where your thread is coming out. Pull the thread all the way through and tighten. You should be coming out of the bottom hole of the center column. We need to get to the end to add the next set of beads. To do this, you're going to go up the third column. Pull the thread all the way through and tighten. Add 2 more cream beads. Pass your needle up the bottom holes of that third outermost column, the opposite hole from where you are coming out. Pull your thread all the way through and tighten. Pass your needle down that column you just added to get yourself positioned at the end of our row. Next, we're going to add the mouth. Pick up 2 black beads. Pass your needle down through the top holes of that 4th column and pull your thread all the way through. Pass your needle back up through those 2 black beads that we just added and pull the thread all the way through and tighten. Continue this process and add 4 more sets of cream beads. Go ahead and hit pause and come back when you've completed this row. This next row is going to stack right on top of this one. Pick up 4 cream beads. Pass the needle down through the 2nd column from the right, the column right next to the one you're coming out of, and pull the needle all the way through. Pass the needle back up through the outermost column on the right. Go back up through all 4 beads and pull all the way through. Your thread should be coming out of the last column. Pass your needle back down through the next column. Go back through all 4 beads, the ones we just added and the 2 from the previous row. Pass the needle up the 3rd column of beads. Pull the needle all the way through and pick up 2 more cream beads. Pass your needle back down the set of 4 on the right. This is going to get those 2 beads lined up into their column. You should be coming out of the bottom hole of the 2nd column of beads. Pass the needle up through the column to the left. Go up through all 4 beads in the 3rd column. Add 2 more beads and pass the needle down the 4th column on the bottom row, stacking those 2 new beads right into place. Pass your needle up through the 2 black beads and pull all the way through. Add 2 more cream beads and pass the needle down all 4 beads in the 4th column on the bottom row. Make sure you hold your project tight between your pincher fingers so it doesn't fly away. Now that I have repositioned, I am going to go back up through the 2 black beads and the 2 cream beads that we just added. Pull your needle all the way through to secure. Keep adding cream beads 2 by 2 and secure using the same technique. Go ahead and hit pause and come back when you've reached the end of this row. This next row, we're going to start tapering in using brick stitch. This will line the next row of beads up between the columns instead of stacking. Pick up 4 beads. Locate the 2nd thread bridge. This is the thread between the 2nd and 3rd column of beads. Pass your needle under that bridge from back to front. You are not going into any bead holes, you're just passing the needle under the thread. Pull your thread all the way through and pass your needle back up through that first set of beads. The bead holes should be sitting on top of the column. Be careful not to accidentally go back under the bridge or these will not attach. Pull your thread all the way through. Unfortunately, the beads don't really line up perfectly at this point, so we have to snatch that outer one in and bring it in. To do this, pass your needle down through the 2 outermost beads. Pull the needle all the way through and tighten. Pass the needle back up through the inner 2 beads. Pull the needle all the way through. You should be coming out of the top hole of that 2nd outermost set of beads. Next, we're going to add an eye. Pick up 2 black beads. Pass the needle under the next thread bridge, pull your thread all the way through, and then pass the needle back up those 2 black beads. Pull the needle all the way through and tighten. You're going to use this same technique to complete this row of beads. You're going to add 2 more sets of cream, one set of black for the other eye, and 2 more sets of cream to make this row symmetrical. You can use the photo on the card that came with your kit or on our website as a reference. Go ahead and hit pause and come back when you've completed this row. This next row, we will be using the same technique, except we will be doing single beads instead of double stacks. Start by picking up 2 cream beads. Pass the needle under the second thread bridge, the bridge between the second cream and the eye. Pull the needle all the way through and pass it back up through that inner single bead on the left. Pull the needle all the way through and tighten. Pass the needle back down through the outer single bead on the right, and then back up through the inner bead on the left. Tighten and adjust so your beads are sitting flat on the row before. Pick up 1 single cream bead. Pass the needle under the next thread bridge and back up through that 1 bead. Continue adding 1 bead at a time till you come to the end of this row. You are going to add 4 rows of single beads. The final row will have 4 beads. Go ahead and hit pause and come back when you have completed the final row of 4 beads. Now that we have completed all 4 rows of single beads, we can attach our wire protector. Your thread should be coming out of the top right bead hole. Pass your needle down the bead to the left, just the 1 single bead on the top row. Pull that needle all the way through. Then pass your needle up that next bead on the left. Pull the needle all the way through. Pick up one of the little horseshoe-shaped wire protectors and pass your needle up into one of the little feet holes. Are these professional bead words? No, absolutely not. But pull your thread all the way through so the wire protector is resting on top of that top row. Pass the needle down through the other foot hole and into the single bead on the right. This is the second bead from right. Pull the thread all the way through till the 2 feet of the wire protector are resting on the 2 center beads. Make sure your wire guard isn't twisted and there's no thread showing. You also want to double check that the thread is lined up in that outermost channel of the wire protector. We are going to reinforce this and go around the whole thing again. You should be coming down and out of the right side of the wire protector and that 1 single bead. Pass your needle up through the left single bead and the left leg of the wire protector. Pull your needle all the way through and then pass the needle back down the right leg and the right single bead. Pull your thread all the way through and make sure that the thread is lined up nicely in that outer channel of the wire protector. Next, we get to add our happy little flower. You should be coming down and out of the second bead from the right on the top row. Pass the needle down the second bead from the right on the second row. This is the bead right below and to the right of where you are coming out of. Just come out of that 1 single bead. I'm going to adjust this and hold it awkwardly for a second so you can get a better look of what bead we're going to be coming down and out of. Pull the needle all the way through. Now you need to decide which side the flower is going to be on. You can keep them both on the same side or make them opposites. It's totally up to you. Right now, the flower for this earring will be on the right side of the ghost. If you want this flower to be on the left, you will simply pass the needle between the beads to move it back to the other side of the ghost face. And then the flower would be on the left side of the ghost. We're going to keep it easy and keep it on the right for this first one. String on the center bead. For this kit, it's a purple bead. String on one purple bead. Pass the needle between the beads right where you were coming out of and pull it all the way to the back of the ghost. You're not actually going into any of the cream holes, any of the cream bead holes, just between the beads and all the way to the back. That purple bead is what's going to kind of hitch it on there so that the thread doesn't come out. Flip the ghost over and then pass your needle back through to the front. You can't go back exactly the way you came or this thread won't hitch on. Pass the needle on the opposite side of the bead right next to it. You shouldn't see any thread crossing over your beads. It should tighten right between the beads and your needle will come up right next to that purple bead. Pull all the way through nice and slowly and make sure you see that thread go between the beads and not cross over any of the beads. If it crosses over, pull it out and try again. You should be coming up and out right next to that center purple bead. Pass your needle into the purple bead and pull all the way through. String on 3 petal beads. Pick up 3 mustard seed beads. Pass the needle through the opposite side of the purple bead and pull the 3 petals into place. They should be positioned around the purple bead. Pick up 3 more mustard beads and pass your needle through the opposite side of the purple center bead again, lining those 3 new petals up on the other side of that center bead. Pull the thread all the way through so that those beads are nice and secure. Next, pass the needle through the first 3 petal beads you put on. Go through all 3 mustard beads and then pull the thread all the way through. We're going to add 1 mustard bead between the 2 sets of 3. Once you've gone through those first 3, pick up 1 mustard seed bead and then pass your needle through the other set of 3 seed beads. This is a little tricky. You might have to go through 1 petal at a time. You might not be able to get that needle in all 3 beads at once. So just go 1 bead at a time. Once you get to that last one, add 1 more bead to fill in the gap that was between those 2 sets of 3. Pick up 1 mustard seed bead and then pass your needle through all of the mustard petal beads 1 more time. You're going to go through the whole entire flower. Again, you won't be able to do this in one pass, so go through a few, pull it all the way through. Go through a few more, pull it all the way through. Make sure to keep this tight and use your pincher fingers to help keep everything in place. Once you've gone back around all of the petal beads, pass your needle down through the center of the flower and back through the ghost out the back side of the ghost. It doesn't matter exactly where you end up coming out of on the back as long as your thread is not crossing over or showing on the front of the flower or the ghost. Flip the ghost over to see where you were coming out of. We need to get this thread to the outer edge and position down towards the fringe. I'm coming out of the second bead from right, so I simply have to pass the needle up that outermost bead hole and back down towards the fringe. If you came out of a different spot, you may have to do a little up 1 bead, down a bead, weaving to get yourself to that outer hole without crossing over any beads. Once you're in that outer hole, go down all the beads on the outside of the ghost till you are coming out of the very far side at the bottom in position to begin adding fringe. Before we start adding the fringe, we're going to tie off this tail. You'll want to remember this technique for the end when we tie off our main thread. It's going to be the same exact process. Take your needle off and thread it onto the tail from the beginning. Pass the needle up the second column of beads to the left of the tail. Pull all the way through. Next, pass the needle up the outermost beads on the right of that next row. The two green beads on the end of the row with the eyes. Next, pass the needle between the two beads on the edge. Not in any bead hole, just between the set of two beads that you're coming out of and the single bead stacked on top of it. Pull the needle just a little bit till the thread makes a loop, and then stick the needle back into that loop, and this will tie a little knot between those beads. If you begin to see the thread wrap around the bead, stop, pull it out, and try again. Pass the needle back up through a few more beads and trim your thread nice and close. Now we can start the fringe. This is a super easy design, all one color. Each fringe increases by 3 beads. Thread the needle back onto the other piece of thread. Pick up 18 cream beads. Push the beads all the way up to the base of the ghost and double check your count to make sure you have 18 beads. Move the last bead down and out of the way. Then pass your needle all the way up through all 17 beads. When you get to the top, pass your needle up through all 4 beads in that first column. Pull the needle all the way through. Tighten this fringe very gently. For some reason, this project is really easy to over tighten, so keep the fringe a little loose and adjust the tension as you go. To get in position for the next fringe, pass the needle down the 4 beads in the next column. String on 21 beads and repeat. Keep adding fringe using the same process and increase each fringe by 3 beads. I'll add the bead counts in the description of this video for an easy reference. Go ahead and hit pause and come back when you get to the center. For the center fringe, there should be 30 beads total. The first bead is going to be 1 black bead to complete the mouth. So for the center fringe, you will string on 1 black bead and 29 cream beads. Continue adding fringe using the same technique, but now you will decrease each fringe by 3 to complete and have a symmetrical ghost. Come back when you're all finished with your fringe and we can tie this off. We are almost finished with this cute, happy little ghost. Now we need to tie off this thread. We're going to use the same technique we used on the tail. Go up a couple beads. I'm going up those 2 on the next row and a couple other of the single beads on the side. Next, pass your needle from front to back between the beads you're right next to. Not in any bead hole, just up between those beads. Before you pull your thread all the way through, pass your needle into that loop. Mine was kind of twisted. If I kept pulling, I would have a weird thread that sticked out. So if your thread starts to twist, just gently untwist it and tighten it so that that knot tightens right between those beads. Pass your needle down through a few more beads. You can go down and up the beads that you're weaving through. Just make sure that the thread doesn't cross over, or you can just go straight up the outer beads all the way to the wire protector. Trim off this thread as close as possible and get ready to hook on your ear wire. Using a needle nose plier, twist open the loop of the ear wire. Slide the wire protector onto the ear wire loop, making sure that the ghost is facing the correct direction. Twist that loop back closed, and that's it. You did it. Thank you so much for tuning in and making these happy ghost earrings with me. You can shop our DIY kits, beads, and jewelry making supplies on our website, beadsmakemehappy.com.